Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to cover our prep work for the TNKATT tournament that took place on Lake Norris on December 9th. Come along with us as we explore this lake that is brand new to us and we figure out how best to fish it for this upcoming tournament.
All right, we are trying a new to us lake, New Lake Saturday. We have got a tournament coming up on December 9th, and it is on Norris. And we have never fished Norris because it's about an hour, depending on where you're going on the lake, anywhere from an hour to hour and 20-minute drive from our house. So most of the time we're hitting a river, or we're hitting Fort Loudon, maybe Douglas. We can be there in about 45 minutes, but never fished Norris. As you can see, the water is way down. They've already dropped it to winter pool, and it is really clear, especially for an East Tennessee TVA lake. So this is going to be a challenge for sure. We're unfamiliar with it. It's cold water, it's clear water, and it's dropped down, so it's going to be a lot of deep water. We don't do a lot of deep water fishing, so we're going to have to try some of these points, or hope maybe that they're suspended within 10 to 12 feet along some of these bluff walls. Deep water fishing from a kayak, to me, it's difficult. Not something we do a lot of, but we're going to get launched out and see if we can find some fish. Now, I don't know if you guys can see. I'm going to take my hat off here, my head mount. See if you guys can see just how clear this water is. And sadly, I went to power up my sonar, and nothing. So I checked the connection, and wires broke right above the fuse connection. So that's no bueno. So we can't even get a read on water temperature, much less depths or anything else. So we just got to go old school.
Like my dad said earlier, this water was very clear, and we didn't realize how clear until we got out into the deeper part of the lake. You can see it in this next clip. As you can see, I was able to look over the side of my kayak and see 20 to 25 feet down into the water with perfect clarity. Not only was I seeing the structure, but I saw several nice-sized largemouth swim underneath my boat, and we couldn't get them to bite. They just weren't touching anything. I was throwing a Ned rig, and I had a 10 to 12 foot crankbait that I was able to see for my entire retrieve, even when it dived to the very deepest of its dive. Later in the day, I was throwing a 20 to 25 foot diver, and I could see it even at its deepest part of the curve of its retrieval. And it's very weird, especially for us, because we're used to fishing lakes like Loudon and Douglas, which have a far muddier and dirtier color to it. Lakes like Cherokee and especially Norris, where the water is very clear, is very alien to us. It's not something that we're used to fishing. So while we were out on the lake, we had to take our phones out and start doing some research and just read articles on how do we fish this kind of lake, especially in the winter, a season that we're really not used to fishing with colder water. The water temperature was sitting in the mid 50s, so it was kind of weird trying to figure out what kind of patterns we should be looking at trying to figure out where these fish were hiding. After doing some research and some reading, we continued to fish for a couple more hours and we still were not getting a bite. So we ended up deciding to kind of split up and try different areas. We tried different points, different cranks, different Ned rigs, different colors, presentations, just wandering, trying to find something that they would hit.
I'm gonna try a green pumpkin. I'm wondering if I should go to the medium-sized heads.
Might be worth it. I don't know though. I saw life on that point over there. Saw 3 or 4 bass. I saw maybe a baby bass over here across this entire point.
I say we head over there. Sun's hitting that bank too.
Yeah. Wonder if I need to... Are you throwing a crank?
I have to,
How deep the diver?
9 to 14.
Well, I'm just wondering, there doesn't appear to be any structure down through there. I've got rock right here.
And after a few more minutes, my dad calls me and says that he has found a pattern. And here's what he started catching.
Ah, doggone it. I got one. Fish number 1, teeny tiny smallmouth. Ah! Well, at least I caught him. There's number 3. The 3 I caught were probably in 20-25 feet of water, and I had switched to a heavier Ned head to keep better contact with the bottom. Yeah, GoPro capture. He'd be scoreable. There's number 5. I don't think he'd be scoreable though. Nope, 11 and a half. Had to catch up with him. Catching them, just not catching any size.
My dad started catching them in very shallow water right up on the bank and in 20 to 25 feet of water. Nothing in the water column between these two depths. And he caught everything on a green pumpkin finesse TRD Ned rig. And nothing hit that bait hard. They were very small and subtle bites. In fact, he didn't feel anything until he pulled the rod tip up. And he felt either a sponginess or a heaviness, and he knew to set the hook then. So we finally had some kind of pattern to go with. We didn't catch anything else on any other lure. I decided to try different things, trying to find something bigger, while my dad continued to confirm the Ned rig bite. I was trying to find something that they might be hitting for bigger fish, just trying to get something going. But we ultimately ended up with a bit of a pattern that we were able to go on, and we were going to have to improvise from there, especially since this prep we were doing was 2 weeks before the tournament, and we were not going to get another shot to pre fish for this Norris tournament. So we decided we were going to fish rocky banks, trying to hit the very shallow and the very deep using the Ned rig, trying to get our 3 fish limit, even if they were just three 12-inch fish. And then we were going to find something later on in the day that would get us something bigger. We at least had something to go on, and we felt like we could improvise and get something bigger later on in the day. That worked decently for us at Parksville, and we were hoping the same thing would happen on Norris. But we weren't really confident because 2 weeks is a long time, and anything could happen between now and then that could cause the fish to have a completely different behavior. We knew we were going to have a warming trend, but we also knew we were going to have some rain, and we were going to have a couple of days where the temperature just bottomed out and we were sitting in the 20s at night. So there was no telling what the fish were going to be doing, especially on a lake that we just don't know. So you can join us this coming Friday where we'll have the actual tournament footage in a video ready for you. We're looking forward to sharing it. It was a very interesting day, to say the least. It was a fun adventure, and we're really looking forward to sharing it with you. So we will see you on Friday for the rest of this tournament.